Hey guys, this is Ress and Gabi, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today we are talking about struggle love. Now, this is coming up because we've been this is a conversation that's been lurking around the dinner table. It's a conversation like around social media. It's a conversation lurking in some of our DMs. And we're bringing this up because we're gonna talk about love that feels like a full-time job with no benefits and no pay.
So let's define struggling love. First, what is it? Struggling love is when you're out here fighting for a relationship harder than the person that's fighting for you. It's having to prove your love and your worth to the person, and you're not getting anything in return. So, some examples of this is, dating someone who has a dream job but no job, being with someone who thinks communication is optional and therapy is witchcraft, and there are people out there that exist like that. The classic, sticking around while they figure it out for the seventh year in a row. Basically, it's putting all your effort into a sinking ship that's just never going to float.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think you gave amazing examples of struggle love. I mean, I honestly, when I'm thinking of struggle love, I'm thinking of I'm gonna take y'all back. But like I'm thinking of like being back in high school in like 10th grade. And there's always that one couple. She always got on a baby fat jacket and with the fur.
Hmm.
And they are arguing first thing, 7 a.m. Just arguing. We ain't got bills, y'all ain't got kids together. And you see them arguing during every other like break in between class. You walk into the locker and hey Chris, because you talking to them bitches, Chris. And you are just like, why don't y'all break up? We 16. Y'all can find other people. Like y'all don't have to do this. And they were always the ones also that on MySpace, they would post those little MySpace notes. They would have the girl, whenever you go to her page, she's playing, Baby, am I doing too much? It's a picture of them. It's a picture of them. Like my heart, my soul. He's the number one on her MySpace friends list. And you'll just be like, they've been doing this since 8th grade. How are y'all not exhausted? How are y'all not exhausted? Every time they break up, you find out new tea about him. She just like, and that's why he be twerking. Why do I know he be twerking? Why do I know Chris be twerking? Because y'all gonna get back together by next morning. But when I'm thinking of struggle of like, that's usually like the first thing that comes to mind. There's a more adult version, but it reminds me of that couple that you're just like, I can't find a single good thing about this relationship. And y'all insist on being together and holding on.
Um, it's interesting because I feel like there's a difference between 20-year-old struggle love and 30-year-old struggle love. Those are two
Man.
different categories. My 20-year-old struggle love, I was just obsessed, like, oh, we're gonna be together, we're gonna get married, we got this, yes. This 30-year-old struggle love, it just hits different. It's I know common sense is common, and I know damn well I should not be messing with you, but here we are.
And let me know if you want me to take this out. This ain't have nothing to do with struggle love, but like literally, y'all don't understand. Me and her started this message, like started our video today, talking just catching up before we started recording. And I was like, what's going on with your life? She's like, I'm making bad decisions. What about you? I was like, oh, I'm also making bad decisions. No judgment. We listen and we don't judge.
We
We're just here
listen and we
listening and
don't
not
do
judging
it.
each other.
It's
But
just a
no, in your 30s, it's like you know better, but you
you
still
know
do.
better. Exactly. You still do it, so you have a choice.
I
Yeah.
agree with you on that. I feel like struggle love in your 20s, you're not always fully aware of it.
No, you're not. You're a little more delulu until it's true, true.
Yeah.
Definitely. At least
And
I
I
know
think
I was.
and I think some of that can go back to also what you might have seen. Like you might not recognize this a struggle of because mom and daddy been in a struggle of relationship your whole life. So you just like, this is love.
Yeah.
He made me mad. I threw a bottle at his head. I purposely missed. It's fine. We'll see each other at dinner. And like if
Right.
I grow up thinking that's normal, then
That's normal.
yeah. So then, like me being in a relationship, I argue all the time. What do you mean? That's love. When you love somebody and you makes you want to choke them out. No, it doesn't. That's not love at all. Let's
That's
let's
not.
let's have a deep process about why you think that's a thing.
Okay. Be
Um,
very jaded.
and it's not always like that. Like for me, I know I didn't see healthy relationships, but I didn't see relationships like that, like, but I think for me, it was more so like, I didn't really, and me, you both talk, well, you were more of a lover girl in your 20s. You were. I was not a lover girl in my 20s.
Girl, I was.
I
I'm
know. I
savage now.
know. I know. You
You
and
did.
Nick, y'all would be like, and I love him. I got to work it through. I'll be like, girl, I got 9 people on standby.
You be
Let
like,
them
I'm gonna
know.
stick beside him because
Prove
that's
a
my
point.
man.
I know, I know. I was not. But I think I have had like I did have a struggle of before. And it was because like for me, it was like it's so rare that I like somebody enough that I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, dang, you make me want to try hard. You make me want to put in effort.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of like, well, but when's the next time you're actually gonna have a genuine connection with somebody?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, well, Lightland only it's been 5 years since the last time you generally was just like, yo, dang, I feel lucky that God made you. And so it was like, okay, well now I gotta, he just needs some howl doll and prayer. That's all. He just needs some howl doll and prayer. And I'll make this thing work. Nah, nah.
Well, once I went through, I was with somebody for a very long time.
Hmm.
And once, that situation kind of ended, I went through my dark path and, was dating. And once that ended, I I think that was a pivotal moment for me because in my mind, I decided that I was never gonna let a man get one up on me ever again in life. That was my pivotal moment where I kind of changed and it kind of clicked for me
Hmm.
because who I am now, I wish I was this person in my 20s because I really do think like, I didn't stand up for myself enough. I would just
Yeah.
let kind of stuff slide. And I think that was the main thing for me. But now, no, maybe we gonna talk about this, like what's up? Like, cause I'm not her. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like so and it's interesting because, like, I guess when I look at struggle love, I look at my situation where I'm in college, you're in college. You ain't got no money, I ain't got no money.
Hmm.
So the playing field is kind of even in a sense.
Hmm.
But when you start making decisions outside of, like, oh, we're going to be together outside of college and stuff like that, that's when your goals is just different. When I got out of college, I went straight government. You get out of college, you went to like go coach basketball or do whatever and really wasn't making no money. So our struggles were just different.
Hmm.
And I think that's where, you know,
I
am I
think,
gonna step aside? Am I gonna let you figure it out or do I
yeah.
walk?
And I think finances can be a big, big part of struggle up.
Very so.
You definitely can have some where it feels like, for the most part, the relationship feels good, but we are so different
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to our ambition and what we're
Yeah.
willing to put in. And
Yeah.
that is a different type of pain. I too had a relationship in my 20s where her ambition and just did not line up. And again, we was both broke. Like, I went to school for social work. It took me a minute to make money. Okay. Like, it took a minute to make money. And so, but I had a goal, like I had an idea of how I was going to do it. I knew I had to do work here for a couple years. I knew I had to do some work in some niche areas, make some connections over there. I knew how to get my license. I knew how to get my clinical license. Like I had a plan and idea. And I remember I was in this relationship with a person who was brilliant, like very intelligent, just highly intelligent, but he had no ambition. And there was an age gap. Like I was in my 20s, I was like 24, they were like 30. And
Mm-hmm.
um I really thought it's okay because I'm gonna push him to do stuff. Like he has the brains. He just needs somebody, he need a manager, which never walk into a relationship like that. Okay. I'm so glad I learned that at 24. But at the time, yeah, I was like, because he got the smarts. He just needs somebody to manage it. He just
Right.
needs somebody to like give him rough draft a guideline and then check in with the guideline every couple weeks to make sure he's following the protocols. And that's fine. And it's fine. And it wasn't because it just wasn't in him. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
was not in him. He would always, for him, it was always, and we had different ideas of what comfort was. And that was also something that had to like, I really had to sit there and be like, why do you only have one comforter? Why do I have to bring my towel and my wash rag when I come over?
That's rough.
Yeah, but again, it was when I was in my 20s when it hit me like, because at
Mhm.
first when you first dating, y'all just having fun. Yeah, I don't care. We still going on nice dates, we're still having fun, blah blah blah. But then when we were starting to get serious, I started having to
Mhm.
think about certain things. And I started having to think about how completely incompatible we were when we moved in together. We moved in together, and that's when it became, oh, we have completely different ideas of what we want in our life and what is okay and what is our baseline level. Your baseline level is a level that I'm like, never, I will never bring children into this. I need to, this is not what I don't want my children to think this is norm. I don't want this to be my norm. And I remember just having certain conversations where they did not understand, like why my baseline level was a certain place and theirs wasn't, and why that was a problem. And I'm like, either it just hit me. And you know what's crazy is when we broke up, I was like 25. That prefrontal cortex, my
It was
brain, I
coming.
turned
It was coming.
25, my brain developed, and I was like, you know what? Two plus two is four. And you, for some reason, think it's three. And I can't get past that. I can't get past it. And you know what? Mm, yeah, lifestyle compatibility.
It's a thing. It's crazy because I was in a lot of relationships in my 20s. Like
I know you and Nick are such lover girls. You guys
I
are.
was. You just gotta take your time with me. Like I'll warm up. I'll warm up eventually, but you're just not gonna get you're gonna get very sarcastic Gab, but you're not gonna get like I'm in love with him. Like, girl, not me.
Yeah, I mean, and again, struggle love can look like a lot of things. It can be the financial part. It can be, again, to me, a big part of struggle love too is just like arguments. And I talk about this in a lot of episodes. I don't do arguing. Like I don't do arguing. I don't go back and forth with men. I'm
I
not
do.
doing this with you. I know. I know. I know. But you know what I used to do beforehand. We're not allowed to talk about it, I don't
I
think.
know.
But like, yeah, but you know how I used to be. But like I
Mhm.
even now that I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do this the healthy way. I don't like arguing. I don't like going back. And like every now and then that's okay because you're gonna have conflict, you're gonna have disagreements. But like, yeah, I don't do no we arguing. That's a regular part of our relationship. I don't understand it. I don't I don't like arguing. I don't like going back and forth with people. I don't like people raising their voices at me.
That's the part I don't like, but arguing is my specialty. I specialize in arguing and I love it because I'll be like, oh, come on,
I
talk your
cannot
ish. Like,
do
let's
it.
go. I'm ready.
I cannot
Because
do it.
when I whip my guns out and start firing, you gonna walk around mad every time, baby, because I'm not mad. It's you who's gonna be angry. I'm with it. Like, what's
See, I
up?
can't, and then maybe because I actually get mad, and then I get mad, and then I also, but like arguing takes me out of my character. Like I got all I got these degrees and these certifications and these trainings on how to do it correctly, but I know there's certain buttons you can piss, and I'm gonna take it to hell, and I know I'm gonna take it to hell, and like,
I
and
go
then I'm
there
gonna
every
sit
time.
there. And I don't, but I don't like that. Like, I don't, and I'm big at like, I'm really, really big at not putting myself in circumstances I know that I'm not sure how I'm going to handle. And I know there are some people that believe, no, put yourself in those and you just practice and you just practice. I am Jimmy's daughter. It's not going to go the way y'all think. So I avoid, like, there's certain situations where I'm just like, I'm not even putting myself in that situation because why? I don't even want the temptation. But yeah, so for me, I do think like struggle love can look like, it can look like that financial struggle. It can look like that arguing all the time. But I also think it can also look like clearly one person loves the other person way more. And to me, this is that like you know she want to get married and y'all been together 11 years. And she been dropping hints since year one that she wants to be your wife, that she wants to be with you. And it's very clear to like everybody else, like, that man ain't gonna marry her. Or if he does, it's like when he exhausted all his options, then giving you a shut
Very
up
true.
ring.
I was in a situation. Me and this man was making plans. I graduated first in December. He graduated in May. I just knew we was gonna be together.
Mm-hmm.
Did my whole birthday in Miami. Went out to Miami. He's with the family, everything. Well, you know when people start acting shady, like moves, like I'm driving from DC to make sure I make football games and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Senior night comes around, don't hear from him, don't know. Like I'm like, you didn't even tell me it was senior night, yada yada yada. He started moving different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going up there to see him and everything. And you know, we spent Thanksgiving together. One thing we was doing long distance. So you know when you don't see somebody and you spend Thanksgiving, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. None of that. And we stayed with his family. His family was moving shady. It took my mother to say something to me like, they just acting different. Like his mom normally comes up to the car and speaks to me. She's standing on the porch, like she's putting together. I'm like, no, like they're good, gullible me. Phone calls kind of stopped coming. I'm in DC. He's still in Kentucky. Phone calls kind of stopped coming. Text messages. I'm calling at this point. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, I don't know what's on. Like, I'm trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
His friend wrote me on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
and said that he got another girl pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it because me and this man really was making plans on like moving in together
I
and
remember.
everything. And now it's interesting because I look at that situation and I'm actually thankful for it because like I helped him a lot through his struggle as far as like I was way more motivated than him. Like he wasn't motivated with school. Like
You was
if he
helping him do his homework.
I
This
know
is when me and you first met.
I'm helping him do his schoolwork, get through
Yeah.
college, all that, and to watch another woman go to the person that you know that you with graduation and her and the family embrace her is
Yeah.
hurtful to have. And I know like people are like, oh, you're not married, it's not gonna hurt. No, it hurts. Somebody has a baby on you that you think y'all gonna be together because y'all making plans after graduation. That hurts your feelings. That's a
Yeah.
different type of hurt, like for real. So I and the crazy thing is we never, and another part that really messed me up is we never really had any closure. Like it's not like we got on the phone and broke up. We just stopped talking.
Yeah.
Like just one day, just
Yeah.
stop talking. And so I did hit him up like months later and was like, you know, you wrong. Like you had a baby, da 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 da. And he tried to like, and this is where mind games come in. And I do think mind games is a big part of this too. Like he was like, no, like that baby, like I got her pregnant way, like we had already broke up. The math ain't math and bull.
Mm-hmm.
Like you knew you had this girl pregnant when I get spent your birthday with you and Thanksgiving with you
Mm-hmm.
back in November. Like, what? She was already like 5, 6 months pregnant. Like, boy,
Yeah.
don't try to play with me. And the struggle love, what makes me so mad is when I look back at it, it was more of a struggle love because I had more like resources, so money wasn't an issue. He had issues with money. I would fly him to DC to see me. It's not like he was flying himself. I flew him out to Miami. I remember I bought him a PS5. I got him a TV. Like those little things that you don't really look at. But in like for instance, like birthdays are really big for me. You know, we celebrate birthdays over here. He was like, we don't celebrate birthdays. Like it's just another day. Like he came from a totally different environment than me. So, it kind of like down my shine a little bit from time to time. But we've all
Well,
been there. We've all stayed with a guy who we've helped try to get through it and it didn't benefit anything. And I think that just goes on to show how much of a good person you really are and how dedicated you can be to your
yeah.
relationship. Yeah.
I mean, because struggle love isn't really love, it's unpaid emotional labor
Mhm.
disguised as loyalty. And here's my thing, I'm not saying that you can't be with somebody who's not on the same level as you financially or that you have to help out from time to time. But my thing is reciprocity. Okay,
Yeah.
though, when I'm going through, do they step up in this and put in as much effort as well? When I am putting in emotional labor and effort, are they putting in emotional labor and effort? Are they just showing up? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm here, and that's all they can say is that they showed up. Okay, but I showed
Hmm.
up with a shovel and I digged. You just showed
Yep.
up.
Yep.
And that's the difference. Because here's the thing: a lot of times, you, especially in long-term relationships, you're going to have moments where one of you guys are putting in more of the effort. That's a part of being in long-term commitment with people. People go through stuff. Your partner can have their parent pass, and they'll not be themselves for a whole fucking year. Your partner can experience a major tragedy and they are in they have PTSD and it might take them a while to get back to themselves. And so I'm not saying that like, okay, and so if they just stop, you completely stop. No, I think it is a back and forth. But again, we're talking more so about like, this is what the whole relationship encompasses. Like when I think
Yep.
about the whole relationship, is it just me trying to prove how loyal I am to them? And am I saying my loyalty and my disregard of self is love? And
Mhm.
am I the only one doing that? And here's the thing, it's not any better if both of y'all are doing it. Like you should not be throwing away self for another person just because they throw their selves away for you. But that's what I really want us to look at here is the reciprocity. Because I think so many of us normalize struggle love as almost like romantic. And if you think about it, there's so many TV shows and movies we've watched growing up where they romanticize like struggle love. They romanticize like I don't care. I know y'all got mad at me because I did this like season one, season two. I went into it and somebody got into an argument with me on the comments, and I'm gonna stand 10 toes down. Love and Basketball is not romantic. It's not a romantic movie. It is not a romantic movie. He was over here trying to chase these other girls. When she said, "Let me play you for your heart," the nigga said, "Cool," and then put on and like really tried to dunk on her. That is not a romantic movie. And I think about how many times I've seen like certain movies or TV shows or clips, and people are be like, "Yeah, and they just we're just like." I'm trying to think, what was another struggle couple that just like pisses me the fuck off?
I just feel like I disagree with you on that because I'm one of those who think Love and Basketball is an excellent love movie, and from my perspective, I think it's interesting. I also had a guy who I grew up with, so that
Mhm.
plays a major part. But I think you grow up together, you go through things, and high school. How can you really take people serious? Y'all both broke. Okay, we got through that. Okay, college. They got through that. Okay, fine. He did something else. She did what she did, and when he was moving out with his other boo, she was like, damn, like I really could have had that. And I think at the end when she decided to play him for his love. It was more so of pushing him to show him what he really could be. Like you could really be this and we could really have this. So in my mind, I just still, I think that it's a good depiction of love. It's one of my favorite movies.
If I
Very
say
honest.
I want your heart, you turn into Michael Jordan, I don't want it no more. If when you
But
injure your knee and you can no longer be at the top of your career, and that's when you decide you want to have me, that shit's not
but
romantic to
that's a
me.
pivotal point in that movie where she was motivating him. Like, yeah, what you gonna be this? Like, what's up? Like, I want it all. I want it all. She's asking for it. So he stepped up. Like she was playing her part too. It wasn't just on him.
Gabby, I'm
She
not
was pushing,
going.
I just think she was pushing him to be what she needed him to be. And in the end, it all worked out because baby, it worked out. You feel
It
me? So I just
okay, okay. That's not the happy ending I want. I don't
mm-mm.
want when you injure yourself, you can no longer get the hoes you want, you can no longer have the job you want, you're no longer at the top of your game, you decide to settle for me. I don't find
Another
that
movie
shit
I think
romantic.
you gonna say the same thing is about Save the Last Dance.
I gotta think on that because I don't really even remember the love part of that movie, if I'm being 100% honest.
That was interesting too.
I'm trying to think though, but I do think we normalize it because um there's a lot of stuff that I think we normalize as like romantic. And so then when we have situations that kind of mimic it, it's like it can't be like this. And it's like, right. But it only worked out in the movies like that. Like what happens, down the line when okay, the camera crew's gone, the lights actually gone. In real life, is that how that story would have played out? And I feel like a
Yeah,
lot of times, not necessarily, a lot of times also we romanticize something that's really just generational trauma. Like I
very
want
true.
something like grandpa and grandma had. Grandma was
Oh, I don't,
16 when they got married. He was a grown man. Grandma was 16. You
you
ever
know,
notice how Uncle Bobby and Aunt Mary are not from grandma, but they're also our aunts and uncles? Like it's not as romanticized. And I feel like that one a lot of times women get because for most of us, our grandmas at some point settles down and be like, baby, make sure you can always leave. Make sure you
you
got a little,
know,
no pin on no man.
I
And
definitely
but the
agree. I
men,
definitely
they
agree
don't
with you.
get that conversation. They see that grandpa got it good. He still get the big piece of chicken at the table. And they romanticize, like, yeah, I want someone like my grandma. They don't make them like that no more. No, because we learned how to escape.
No, that's true. I agree with that because we make a joke about it now. Like my grandma definitely was married. Her husband passed away, and she's been to the same person since I came out the womb. And every year he asks her to marry him, and my grandma say no. He never gone nowhere.
Look,
like we call him a simp because I mean he out of all these years, I'm serious. Like I can talk about this stuff with you. Everybody in family
look,
know it's one of the things. I love him as a person because he's super sweet, but my grandma is never gonna marry you. Like, let it be. Like, like she just still they older
look.
too. Like, girl, we be like, we don't understand that it just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I'm even thinking about like going back to like the grandpa, grandma, not even that far, like our mom and dads, because I feel like I've met many of people who are
Mhm.
like, I want to have marriage like my mom and dad's, and then like you be at their family dinner table, you like, okay, all right, I think your mom's being held hostage. If I'm being 100% honest, I am
Yes,
not
they
sure.
do.
I'm not. I'm with that. But there is, I think a lot of times where we again there's certain things that have just been normalized to us, like I think about the culture of cheating has been
Mhm.
very very normalized, and I'm not gonna get into it, y'all. I'm not gonna get into like they can control themselves, no they can't, or I don't care which way you look at it, but I feel like it has been kind of normalized for males, not for women yet. I ain't normalized that shit. But it has been normalized because not only like did daddy cheat on mama and mama forgave him, blah, blah, blah. Like nowadays, you only gonna have people like crying coming to your mom like he cheated and like, well, baby, he a good man, you know. And sometimes, these men, they just don't where you're
Mama
having
ain't never
other
said no
women
shit like that.
where you are having other women even encourage you to like, well, they all dogs, girl. Oh, the man of and here's my thing. I'm not against anybody who wants to stay if there was trust broken, if there was cheating. I think situations are a lot grayer and complicated than we try to make it seem. Um,
Mhm. I
and
agree.
and this is something that had to take me growing because if you would have asked me in my 20s, nah, nah. We not only do you need to leave, let me show you how to get away with some stuff so he can remember. Like very much. But I think the older I got, the more I'm working and interacting with people, the more I understand like it is kind of hard when our whole lives are intertwined. It
Yeah.
is a bit harder when um I am seeing my girlfriends out here struggle and the horror stories they're telling me about them dating and they single, they ain't got no kids. Their credit score is great, and then damn, to leave him means I'm taking away half my income, plus I'm bringing three babies with me. And all I'm saying is, I get it. I don't judge anybody's situation. I think in my
That's
20s, I didn't
yeah.
understand and I was automatic judgment and you need to leave. And I'm saying, do what you feel like you need to do. However, I don't like that we've normalized cheating. I don't like that you're kind of like, girl, if you plan to date men, expect it.
And that's not fair. Like when I left NKU to move back to Louisville,
Mhm,
me and my boyfriend at the time, we moved in together.
mhm,
He had just lost his job. So that was a very interesting time because everything fell on me and I was in school. He wasn't in school. I was in school. So he was home all day playing the game, which led to him talking to other people. I'll never forget that. So I was like, okay, so I gave him a chance. I stayed. He stopped talking to everybody, whatever. We got our second apartment together. And I had one more semester left. I'll never forget that because I had one more semester left. And my mother, she was on her last radiation treatment. So we
mhm,
was, working through all that. And it was at a time when I had gained a little weight, so I really wasn't feeling like myself and stuff like that. And he was going out, like hanging out, because he came from a family with money.
mhm,
I had to work for my money. And then when I look back at the time, I realized like he wasn't even contributing to no bills because hey, he still don't have a job.
mhm.
So he went to a football game and my mom seen him with another woman.
Mm,
And I'll never forget that because my mom called me and she did not want to tell me that this is what was going on. So she told me, and I was just like, no, like, are you sure that's him? Like, still trying to stick up for this man.
yeah.
And so I got his computer and I started looking at emails, start looking at text messages, start looking at everything. And I was like, no, he really is out here really cheating on me. I laugh at I don't laugh at it now. Well, I can laugh about it now because that was a long time ago. But I look back and be like, that was definitely struggle love because like I was literally doing everything. I provided the place. I took in his cat. I don't even like cats. I took in his cat. I like was making sure all of us were straight and like everybody, his family was okay with him doing what he wanted to do. And I'm just supposed to just be sitting at home letting you do this.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think if he would have came home that weekend, because he didn't come home like
Mm,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If he would have came home that weekend, we probably would have made it because I really did love that boy. But he didn't come home that weekend. I called into my double shift and I packed all his stuff up. And I think for me to leave, it helped because we didn't have no kids together. So we
mhm,
didn't have no affiliates together. So it was just easier for me to be like, you got to go now. What's some more nights in my apartment by myself? Because I was used to, I got this for me and him,
mhm.
but I did what I needed to do.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the times in my life I really stood on business. Like, you gotta go.
And I think that's the thing with struggle love is that like a lot of times there's really this belief, no, it's really just me. It's me and you. We're really in this together. I
Hmm.
really, really love like I wanna I we can make it through. We can make it through anything.
Yeah.
And there has to be a reality check at some point of like, but do I have to?
You don't
Okay,
have to be
even if I
with
have,
somebody
if we
being
can
mistreated.
make it through anything, do I want to be with someone who's dragging me through everything?
That part. You don't
You
have to stay
gotta
with
ask
somebody.
yourself that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because let's go over the struggle love starter pack. Because the struggle love starter pack includes a lot of times again that partner with zero ambition, but all the
Hmm.
excuses, weekly arguments that ends with, but I love you though. A subscription to the toxic belief that love is supposed to hurt. Hurting is just a part of love.
Hmm.
And usually there's a couple dashes of gaslighting to keep you doubting yourself, thinking that you're in the wrong for wanting more and wanting to leave. And I really want to touch on that one because I think also that's a big factor of why so many people stay in struggle. And even though we're saying like we're talking about like women dealing with struggle of women, it happens from men's sides too. I have a homeboy. I ain't checking on my homeboys. I have like three homeboys that have all been in struggle love situations that like by time the rest of us are figuring out what was going on, we was like, bro, what is you dealing with? Like, what is you dealing with? And I saw the same thing with them as I saw myself when I was in a struggle love situation, as I did with my homegirls. And one of the big things I see consistently is that you are gaslighted into believing that you are selfish or you're not realistic about love because you
Mm.
want more and you're tired of this. I know for me, when I was in that struggle of situation in my early 20s with that grown man, uh, um, I was constantly made to feel like I was selfish and I was an uppity Negro. I was an uppity Negro. He once told me I was an uppity Negro in an argument for being like, you have to have ambition. You need to do something. You are supposed to be, you are older than me. Why do I feel like I am the one leading the ship? Why do I feel like I am the adult in this relationship? You in your 30s. I can't even rent a car yet. Why does it feel like and really had me sitting there like is something wrong with me because they were
Mhm.
quote unquote a good guy. And they were a good guy, but I needed more. I
Yeah.
need you to have ambition. I need you to be okay with like the fact that like we talking marriage, we talking babies and so forth. I need you to be okay then with the fact that like, okay, then I want to get my baby a house. Let's be okay with the fact with like us together shouldn't be making more than 50K. You talking about bringing a child in this. We live in Atlanta, sir. I'm why are you making me feel bad because he used to do this thing. Oh my God. And you already know how I am with my work effort. Like
Yeah.
I be and I have to actually stop And I actually have to stop. Like, I recently just had something happen that made me be like, yo, you need to chill out. But like, I am a person who, if you, until something like happens, or, and if someone doesn't drag me down, I will work 60, 70 hours a week on the regular.
Mhm. You are like that in real life.
And like, he would do this thing where he would just call off work all the time. Just for no reason. Like, I would come home, and especially when we was living together, and I'm like, why are you here? He'd be like, oh, I ate ice cream. I'm like, you're lactose. Yeah. So I called off. And I'm like, but you know you have work. Why would you eat ice cream knowing you're lactose? You're in your 30s, you know this. This is your third time off this week. Matter of fact, I remember one time I had to call in and make an excuse for him because they told him that if he called off again, he was going to get fired. So I had him call because I was scared he was going to get fired and I needed you to pay these bills. And so I had to call in and fake an emergency to be like, is he there? I don't, to be like, that's why he's not there because I'm in the hospital and blah, 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 blah. And he really, again, made me feel like I was crazy because I was like, you have no work effort and I can't feel secure and safe. I am a person who has work effort and I feel like this is clashing because I'm starting to have less respect for you because again you're
Yeah.
older than me and I feel like you're my
He's
child half the time.
laughing.
And he made me feel so guilty for that. He made me feel selfish, guilty, and again just kind of because we also kind of grew up a little bit differently, not super differently, but we did grow up
Hmm.
differently. And he was like, because you and your parents, y'all you just used to everything happening. Yeah, and I was like, I'm first of all I turned 20, they cut me off. I was on my own. Like, but I'm around my parents will help me out
Okay.
if I need to, but also because I had that work effort, like I didn't really like asking them for stuff. I didn't like running to them for
Right.
stuff.
That
They
wasn't
were
an
always my
option.
last resort. Like
The
I came
very
to you
last one.
after I picked up a second job and a third job and a gig. Like that was how I was doing that situation.
I think we always like it in our 20s, especially our generation. Well, some of our generation, because baby, I had 3 jobs, 4 jobs. I didn't care. It was gonna get done.
Yeah, I was working third shift doing homework on the job because I was in full grad school full time, working third
Hmm.
shift, doing an internship for the free while also doing Uber and Lyft on the weekends.
Girl, I was literally
Meanwhile,
doing.
you calling off 4 times a month because you want
Hmm.
to play video games. But so I do think that can be a big part of it because I know for me, some of the things that kind of have me stuck is also, again, y'all know me. I talk about this a lot. I'm a big leaver. I love leaving. It's hard for me to stay. And this is when I really started to work on that. And I I felt like I was gaslit when I was really having concerns. They're like, yeah, because that's what you do. You always just leave folks because you don't even know how to stay. You talk about you're the emotionally mature one. You don't even know how to work things through. And I really, and when you're someone who's trying to heal and and you're new at this, and someone starts pinpointing on those things, then you're like, he's right. Or at least for me, it was like, he's right. Damn, I do
I
need to
wish the
work on
word
that a bit. And it
gaslight was
is.
back out back then, because that's straight gaslight.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
straight gaslight. Like we didn't use that word back then, but I definitely wish we would have, because he definitely gaslighted your ass.
Oh,
Like that's crazy.
he definitely, I was in therapy. I went to therapy. I was in this relationship and went back to therapy because I was like, yo, am I trying to, and I had a male therapist, so that didn't help me. Anyway, he was also, I had a Christian male therapist. It was also just like, you gotta stay and marry this man. It's a whole other thing. Whole other conversation. But yeah, like I really didn't. So I think that is a big one too. And Ashley used to say this. I'm still not big on it, but Ashley did used to say this, and she has said this on a couple episodes in the past, where she's like, she's big on telling her girlfriends what's happening. She's like, because sometimes you need to say it out loud and see other people's reactions to what you're putting up with. She's like, because
Hmm.
sometimes we think things are normal, and then we talk to our girls, and they're like, "Girl, he's gaslighting you," and it didn't even cross your mind, like, wait, what? Wait, what?
It's
I
very true.
hmm. Even recently, I had a friend, and this was a friend, but I had a friend that was telling me something that I just didn't put much thought in. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what's happening. And I was talking to Neek, and I was replaying. I was like, oh yeah, because I was supposed to do something. She was like, well, why didn't you do something with it? Why didn't you do the thing? I was like, oh yeah, they said they couldn't because blah 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 blah. And she was like, wait, what? I was like, because blah blah. Wait, blah 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 blah. And I was saying that I was like, hold on. And it just took her saying like, girl, wait, what? And I'm like, hold on, that doesn't make sense. She's like, that doesn't make sense. That's not even how the law works. And I was like, that is not how the law works. And like I had to like say it out, and I was like, you know what?
She lied to me.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
was a matter, and I do think that can sometimes be really, really helpful. And a lot of times, a lot of us are like, I'm very secretive about relationships. No, if I'm casually, yeah, let's talk about it. And I get it. Like, and I am definitely a person who doesn't really like when I find someone who I'm really like in love with, I like keeping that secret. But I do think like, and I've said before, that's something I am trying to work on because I do think you need that other. You'll be surprised how quickly there is a quote. I can't remember the quote exactly, but where they talk about like the easiest people to manipulate are people who think they're too smart to be manipulated.
Let's
And
deep.
and some of us think like, well, I'll keep it to myself and nah, because I don't be on them games and ain't no man gonna get nothing over on me. And that's when you are putting yourself in kind of dangerous territory of thinking like, I'm too smart to get caught up in this. I'm too mm. And so like I have changed my mindset on that. It's still hard for me. I still kind of like keeping things kind of really close to my chest when it comes like to very personal, intimate relationships. But I the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, sometimes you kind of do need to say those things out loud, bounce off to close trusted others because these motherfuckers out here will have you doubting yourself.
Mhm.
And you will be putting up
Right.
with stuff that later you're like, how did I even think that was okay?
I definitely understand when they say love isn't enough. I definitely understand that
Mhm.
because it's really not. You need a little more than love. It has to come with other things also. So how do we break free? We leave the struggle behind and upgrade to peaceful love. And
Mm.
what's that look like? We stop over romanticizing potential. If
Ooh.
they're not meeting you halfway now, chances are they won't later. Just read the room. Read the room. Read the room. That's the best way I can say it. Like, know what's going on. Check your boundaries. Are they sturdy or are they like a cheap fence anyone can jump? I think
Mm.
boundaries are really important when it comes to relationships because really do believe people know who to play with and who not to play with.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can say that one. Like I truly believe that. Stand on business
Mhm.
and don't be afraid to leave. Do a self audit. Ask yourself, am I giving more than I'm getting? If answer yes, pack it up.
Mhm.
Now, I do believe it is a difference between supporting somebody and believing in somebody's dream. If somebody is really trying to, for instance, let's just take a business. If you're dating somebody and they're literally like, oh, I want to get my business off the ground, whatever, and you choose to stay with somebody like that, but you see that they have ambition and they're doing the work, that's
Mhm.
different versus staying with somebody who is not doing the work, who
Mhm.
is just a taker. Because there are people out here that are naturally takers, and sometimes I don't think that they realize how much they take and how much
Yeah.
that weighs on the other person. So just kind of know the difference between the two.
That is so important. I love that you brought that up. It's because I think we have this assumption that people know all the time.
Hmm.
And I do think a lot of people do know. A lot of people know when they're playing with you. A lot of people know when they are taking. But there really are some people out here who are draining and vampires, and they
Yes.
literally have no clue. They literally
Yeah.
have no clue. And so this idea of like, well, they'll know they're putting too much on me and they'll stop.
Mm-mm.
No,
No.
even with the
No.
people who know, some don't care. They gonna get as much
You're
as you
not.
allow them to get.
Yeah. Yeah. And then finally, just embrace your standards. You're not high maintenance. You're just tired of fixing broken clocks. I've been told I'm bougie and high maintenance my whole life.
Mhm.
Come to find out, I just like the finer things in life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You will treat me a certain way. You will love me a certain way, and these are my boundaries, and this is what it is. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that because it's true. What another person won't do, another person will. You can be loved correctly and still have everything that you want.
You
It's
can.
definitely possible.
And here's the thing, there are some people who you will have to beg to reach your standards. And there's other ones that all you gotta do is you can joke about it. The
Hmm.
other day I posted a meme. It was actually from our page too. I had posted a meme, and on the meme it was just like, I love a man who the whole time he's out, he's checking in and telling you what he doing, where he at, sending you pictures, just letting you know, just letting you be a part of the moment. And I posted nothing. And I promise y'all, I was not trying to be passive aggressive or nothing. I just thought it was cute. I was like, yeah, because I love this.
Hmm.
This man updated me every single second. He saw it. I was like, oh, she wants more updates. He gives great updates anyway. Like we talk on the phone too much, but gives great updates anyway. And but ever since then, like just started, okay, hey, sending pictures, FaceTime and calling, hey, what you doing? Where you at? You know, we having fun. Think about you, all this type of stuff. I just bring it up to say, like, there are some people who like, oh, that's what they want. I can give you that. If that's what makes you happy. There are some people, I have a friend right now who like every time we go out, I get Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper. I try to drink nothing but water, but when I do break, it's usually for Dr. Pepper. And so now the other day I wasn't feeling great and I was working. They're like, hey, you want me to bring you something? I was like, I'm about to be back to back in clients. And when I got done working, I had a text message with a picture of them. They dropped me off some chocolate and and like 4 Dr. Peppers at my door. Like, so you don't have to leave. I know you feel bad, so you can feel better. And it's just little things, but there are some partners who will literally have you screaming to your black and blue, like, please just, can you just give
Hmm.
me this? And there's other people who will just make note of little things and be like, oh, I think they like that. And they will just start doing that and stepping up to that level for you. On the stop over romanticizing potential, because I think again for a lot of us we get caught up in here because we're like, oh my gosh, he's so smart, he said he wants to be a doctor and he says he's going to go back to school, and you know he's always watching ER and Grey's Anatomy. Girl, he don't know math. Girl, he don't know basic math. How, like, are they it's cool to have dreams. It's cool that they have these certain things. And again, that was my thing. The person I dated in my 20s, when I was like, okay, I'm really gonna try to do this healthy relationship thing, really try to make it work thing. Again, very intelligent man, highly intelligent man. But like again, did not have that vision. And again, at one point, I had to really be honest with myself, like, yeah, he probably could start because it was lots of dreams. He wanted to own his own restaurant at one point. Then he wanted to own a food truck at another point. Then he was going to start being a streamer on like video games, streaming and like networking. And here's the thing, I was like, cool, but then get on and stream. Have a regular schedule. Start building up your social media. Start doing the things. But like then start streaming. Because here's the thing. Also, I think sometimes when we start talking about like a person having pipe dreams, we're like, oh, if they want to do anything creative, like don't go for him. Go someone who went to school to be a doctor or a lawyer. But like, no, there's plenty of people who have made it. There's plenty of people,
Very
but they
true.
put in the effort. Like if I say I'm going to be a comedian, that I'm going to start going to the clubs after work and I'm going to start writing my material. And even when I'm bomb, I'm going to learn from that bombing. I'm going to change my act up and then I'm going to go again. I'm going to start putting my stuff on TikToks. I'm going to start getting a social media. Like I'm going to do the efforts just because it's something that seems like a long shot pipe dream.
Yep.
That doesn't have to be the stop. Are they putting in the effort?
That's that ambition. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so be realistic with yourself when we're talking about that potential part, because it could get you caught up. Because some of them can have the stuff. Some of them can be like, oh my gosh, he wants to be a model and he's very handsome and he's 6'5". And people stop him all the time and want to take photos. And maybe, has that man learned to walk yet?
No drive, no motivation.
Has he taken pictures besides Snapchat pictures? Like, has he tried to get a photographer? Has he tried to get his own book? Has he tried to get an agency? Like, again, it's one thing to be like, oh, they have the potential, okay, but are they doing the work? Because you can't do the work for them.
That part, I agree.
So here's the thing, I do think that like there is a such thing as the glow up after a struggle love situation. You, I promise you, when you escape struggle love, you feel lighter. For some of us, our skin all of a sudden just start clearing up. Credit score just improve. You are out here. You might be out here like just all of a sudden my hair growing again. I am not stressed out. I
Mm,
don't think we even touch on like the impact that being in a situation like this can have on you physically, mentally, spiritually. Now you might be heartbroken. You're gonna go through your little cry phase. You're gonna go through your little like, oh, I miss him. He was so good. We was gonna have such pretty babies. Cool. But once you get out of that phase,
you be good.
the glow up is real.
It's very real.
When you are not out here financially supporting somebody else's mess, arguing at 6 a.m., pulling all of the weight, except for Gabby. Gabby's still gonna argue with you, apparently. Not at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., but pulling all the weight, there is like a whole change I can start developing in you.
Hmm.
You up here trying to buy what's that pill called that everybody's using for the hair? Minoxidil. You over here trying to buy minoxidil to grow back out your edges. All you need to do is get rid of him. Your edges been falling out because that man's stressing you. Because that woman is stressing you. You up here like I can't lose the weight and I can't stop my eating habits is because your only form of dopamine is now from food because every single thing and every single day with them is stressful. And so you stress eat.
Yeah.
And now
And
your skin is messing up and now we're gaining weight and now it's hard to lose the weight and now you don't have the energy to go to the gym because all your energy is put into this mess.
it's easy to stay because it's what you're used to. But
Yeah.
it's really hard to leave a situation sometimes because it's the fear of the unknown
Yeah.
and it's having to relearn yourself all over again.
Yeah.
And that can be super scary when it comes to certain things because, what are people going to say?
Mm-hmm.
People still going to like me. People are still going to ask about them. Oh, how's your significant other? You show up at parties, you're single, your life just is different and you have more time to just worry about you.
Yeah.
And that's scary because, especially when you're leaving the person that you feel knows you, but you know that they're no good for you. So you just have to really get into things and just focus more on you and things that you like.
Yeah.
Read a book, take a cook class, go work out. Personally, I know for me, after some of my struggles, food is a really big thing for me, and that's my coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I've had to recreate my relationship with food, and I've really got into working out. And then, I have really good friends, aka this one who I'm on this podcast with, who
Hey.
encourages me to read. She's a reader, so I buy books. Sometimes I don't read them, but nothing's wrong with starting over every time. It's
Yeah.
okay. So just, recreate yourself because I don't think people tell the world that enough. Like you can recreate yourself
Yeah.
at every age, every moment. You can create yourself day by day. You could be with somebody in January and decide to be another person in February. Like you don't have to stick to one thing. You can recreate yourself as many times as you need to,
Yeah.
especially after a relationship. You can be whoever you want to be.
And before we end, I just want to also put in there that again, it's important to find your tribe. I know y'all probably like y'all say this every episode, but it is so important to have a tribe of people who love and support and care about you. And one of the things I think I see commonly with people, especially who have been in a struggle of relationship for a long time, is that you lose friendships, you
Mm-hmm.
lose um people who was really there because they're tired of seeing you go through this mess. And sometimes it's because they telling you the truth and you don't want to hear it. All of a sudden they a hater. No, she was your biggest supporter and she loved you and she wanted to be there for you. And I'm bringing this up to say that some of those relationships you can go back and mend. I think for some of us, it's also hard because it's like I lost everything trying to be with you. And if I leave you, then not only do I not have you, I don't have those people that love me no more. I don't have those friendships. I don't. And for so many of those people, I'll say this as someone who did have a friendship that it was ended because of a struggle of relationship. That was in a relationship with someone who was very, very manipulative and just made it really hard to be in their life. And they isolated them. They pushed us out. And we still love them and think about them and hope they're well. And we wanted to be there for them. And so when they ended that, we were there. We were
Yeah.
right there, still ready to love. We was hoping you was coming back. And so it might hurt and it might be like my pride won't let me do it, but there are certain things that's worth putting your pride aside. And that's not to say
Like, girl, you better make me cry.
there's some people who might not, and that's okay. That's their right because they have feelings too, and that experience might have hurt them. But
Hmm.
there's probably still some people who they still think about you and they still pray for you and they still hope you're okay and they still miss you. And if you're like, dang, but what if I leave and I have nothing? I have nobody. if you did have really good sources, and this is not the bad sources that were just kind of there, that's just kind of way up, but you did have really good sources of support that love you and
Yeah.
care for you, it might be worth considering putting aside your pride to go back and be like, you know what? Y'all were right. That was a waste of my time. Can we rebuild?
Yeah. That's good. That's deep. That's very deep.
So, with that being said, yes, struggle love is a scam, but love itself is not. You deserve a relationship that feels like a warm embrace and not a cold war.
Yep.
So, we thank you guys for tuning in. We will have a new episode for you guys coming up. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. We are on TikTok, y'all. But follow us on TikTok. I feel like we're shadow banned or something, but still go follow us on TikTok at She Wolf Alchemy podcast. Please leave us a review or like wherever you are listening. Share with friends and so forth. And yeah, we'll have a new episode for you guys shortly. And yeah, that's it. Bye.
Bye.